All right.
All right. We'll call the January 24th, 2023 Finance and Personnel Committee meeting to order. We'll take a roll call, please.
Pullman,
Here.
Nelson,
Here.
Odekirk, Hildebrand.
Here. All right, we have a quorum. Approval of meeting minutes from October 25th meeting.
Move that we approve the minutes.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Discussion and possible action on sewer water rate increases. Ms. Ross.
So I'm here today to talk about the increases for water and sewer. In the budget, you guys have already approved a 3% increase. What we do for water is what we call a simplified rate increase with the PSC. And when I went there to go look at our information, make sure we still qualify and everything, it says that the simplified is now 4.5% instead of 3%. So there's no way for me to do a simplified 3% rate increase. So I'm here to ask if we can do a 4.5% simplified rate increase for water and just do it how we had intended, but it would be the 4.5% instead. Also, we were doing an increase for sewer of 3% in our budget that you had approved. And I recommend that we do the same increase for sewer as water. And then I guess the next question is, how does this impact our residents? It would be $1.60 per month for water and $1.22 for sewer. All in all, for the whole year, it's about $12,000 in revenue for water and $12,000 in revenue for sewer, about that. One of the reasons it isn't very much is because we had intended to start the rate increase a little bit sooner. Now the date will be April 1st, so the residents will see the increase on their May bills.
Okay, now you said like for water, $1.60 per month. Would that be the difference between 3 and 4.5, or that would be for
That's-
4.5?
That's the difference between 4.5 and 3.
Okay. So in reality, it's $1.60.
Oh, hold on, no, I'm wrong. It's the total, that's the total,
That's the total.
Yes.
Okay.
sorry.
Otherwise, it would have been $1.20 a month, I think, right?
Yes.
If my math is correct.
Yes.
So slight increase. Okay. All right. I guess we should have a motion before we do discussion. Does somebody want to move and we'll
I'll make a motion that we do the 4.5 and 4.5 as staff suggests.
I'll second that.
second? Okay. Any discussion?
I have a question.
Yes.
Is that $1.20 everybody, or is it vary by the amount you use? And the same with the,
Just your house.
well, I don't use
It's
it,
$3.20. No.
It has to do with how much you're using.
so that's kind of average
Yes,
factor, okay, just so if somebody gets and they go, well, mine is $1.60 and you said it was only $1.20, so that's why I kind of asked that question.
so that's an average residential customer.
If we could have to move the decimal point over one place.
Your phone did too.
Would that delay somewhat then the need for an increase in the future if we're going up, 50%?
I would think so. But,
Should.
the only thing that we're running up against is that our chemical costs for both water and sewer have gone up considerably with the inflation and the supply issues that we've had. And then we also have some maintenance issues that have come up at the wastewater treatment plant.
Okay, the roof on the digester
Correct,
failing.
yes.
Okay. Any other questions, anybody, or? If not, we can take a vote on that. Let's take a roll call vote on
Pullman,
Yes.
Nelson,
this. Yes.
Odekirk,
Yes.
Hildebrand.
Yes.
And this is a recommendation to council.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, then let's move on to discussion and possible action on loan to TID 5 for annual street program and the revolving loan fund.
Kim, I can start this one, I guess. And then Kim can kind of fill in the gaps. So as we discussed earlier in the year, TID 5 is projected to have funds available when it closes to complete one final project. We estimate approximately $775,000. We went out to bid. This will kind of combine with the council item that will be later on tonight. But this is just the East Clifford Street portion. So the TID 5 contribution will be $774,327. The utility fund will contribute $165,425. TID 5 does not currently have enough funds to pay for the project in 23, so we will be recommending a zero interest loan from the revolving loan fund of $750,000 to finance this project. And then over the course of time, as the TID gets additional revenue and increment, it will be paid off through 2028. Kim, any additional comments?
I think you covered it all.
Again, we have a motion to,
Mr. Chair, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the, agreement for the loan as stated for TID 5.
Second on that.
and discussion. Mr. Hanson.
The difference of the loan from the TID to pay off the Clifford Street project, what kind of, I don't have the paper in front of me, what's the difference? It's not gonna cover the whole thing, but what would be the difference that we'd have to take from our general fund, I guess it would be, or the,
Nothing from the general fund, just $165,000
from the utilities? Okay, so the utilities part is, that's what we're not getting through the TID.
Correct.
The entire amount that would come from TID 5 would
Right
be
on.
coming from the revolving fund instead?
We're taking from TID 5 about $774,000,
Oh, okay,
and we're getting $750 from
the revolving
Yarra,
fund.
yeah.
Okay, and that would be repaid over the remaining life of the TID 5, is that?
Yeah, 6 years.
Okay.
And I don't see any issues in having it paid off in full.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion? We'll go ahead and move on this then. Recommend to the council again, correct?
Correct.
Pullman,
Yes,
Nelson,
Yes.
Odekirk,
Yes.
Hildebrand.
Yes.
Okay.
No,
We're kind of buzzing through these pretty quick. Discussion and possible action on regarding TIF number 6, repayment of city advance.
In 2020, the council passed a resolution number 5 authorizing the repayment of a cash advance that the city had given to TIF 6. We were not able to give that money back to the general fund because TIF 6 didn't have the money and in fact had negative cash flows for 2 more years. Right now, the TID 6 owes the general fund $148,000. It also owes Plymouth Utilities an advance of $745,000, which was for capital projects at the beginning of the TIF. So that was, quite a while ago, 2011. TIF 6 is a small district and it's not forecasted to be able to pay all the original advance from the utility at this time. Our current forecast shows that TID 6 would be able to pay the $148,000 back to the city. We would recommend that we do that first. And that right now would be able to pay about $317,000 to the utility prior to closing the TIF. No interest is scheduled to be paid on either of these advances, and TIF 6 would be able to meet all other payments that they have, like they have a bond payment and some other things like that that's in the forecast.
Kim, I think I would just add, right now, this is our best projection, but it could change. A lot of this is based on just the various taxing jurisdictions, tax rates that go into the TID. So pending, those tax rates, this number could change slightly in the future, and we'll provide more info as we have it.
We would like it so that the recommendation has the intention that the utility would be paid off as much as possible. So at that point, if TID 6 did have extra money, we would come in and ask, is it okay if we change the repayment schedule? when I looked at this before the new tax rates came in, it was gonna be really close that they could pay the utility off. But with this new tax, rate that just came through, the school district's rate had dropped considerably, which takes away a lot of revenue from the TIF districts.
So in a motion, we need to move that we approve, repayment
TID 6 advance.
to 6 advance as much as possible
To
for,
the utility and in full to the city.
okay,
And in here, I have a repayment schedule. We would pay, over the next 4 years, we'd pay back the city. Because it doesn't have a lot of extra cash flow, but it does have some. So it would make some payments based on cash flow back to the city. And then right after the city's paid off, then it would start paying back on the utility.
and TID 6 continues until when?
2031.
2030.
Okay.
Yeah, so there could be changes in that as the formula changes too.
Okay.
That's the big unknown that we never did know that from the start.
All right, I guess we'll.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a recommendation that we recommend to the council approval of the TIF 6 repayment schedule as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion on this? No, I guess we'll take a roll call.
Pullman,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes,
Odekirk,
Yes.
Hildebrand.
yes. All right. I guess we need a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Good evening and welcome to tonight's Common Council meeting for January 24th, 2023. Clerk will call the roll, please.
Odekirk,
Present.
Hanson,
Present?
Gilson,
Here.
Hildebrand,
Here.
Shilsky, and Nelson.
Here.
Let the record show we have a quorum. Next is the pledge. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda. The chair will entertain a motion.
Motion that we approve the consent agenda. Second.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? Clerk will call the roll, please.
Nelson,
Yes.
Hildebrand,
Yes.
Odekirk,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Gilson.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Next is the audience portion where we have people sign in and be recognized by the chair. This evening, we have no people that signed in. That's where you do the talking and we do the listening. We encourage you to come and tell us what's on your mind. Item 5 is not needed. No items were removed from the consent agenda. Item 6, old business. Possible appointment and swearing in of new District 4 council person. I'll call on our city administrator, utility manager for a comment, and then we'll start the process. Tim.
Sure. So at the last meeting, the Common Council conducted interviews for the vacancy of Alderperson Jim Wilson. Mike Penkwitz and Randy Schwer were applicants. Randy withdrew his application following the meeting. So Mike Penkwitz is here tonight and is still interested in the position and would be happy to be selected.
Thank you. The chair will entertain a motion for appointment. Alderman Hildebrand,
Yeah, I'd like
you
to make,
requested to make a motion.
yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we make a unanimous decision for Mike Pankowitz to be District 4 alderperson.
Second, Nelson.
We have a first and a second. I guess my first question is with City Attorney Feber, is that acceptable to Have unanimous motion?
Yes, you're casting a unanimous ballot in favor of my.
Okay. We have a first and a second. Any discussion?
Mayor Holman,
Alderman Hanson?
great candidate, great person, definitely should have him.
Any other comment? Clerk will call the roll, please.
Hanson,
Yes.
Shilsky. Gilson,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Hildebrand,
Yes.
Odekirk.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. We'll now have a swearing in. So with that, Mike, please come forward. And Ann will administer the oath.
Alright, you can raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name, do solemnly swear
I, Mike Tankwitz, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and Constitution of the State of Wisconsin
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and faithfully discharge the duties of District 4 Alderperson
and faithfully discharge the duties of District 4 Alderperson
of the City of Plymouth
of the City of Plymouth
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Speech.
Welcome to the Common Council, Mike.
Thank you. This is a different viewpoint here.
Moving on to item 7. Item A, discussion and possible action regarding resolution number 3, amending water and sewer utility rates for budget year 2023. Tonight we have with us Utility Finance Director Kim Ross. Kim, you want to make a comment, please?
Sure, in the 2023 budget, we had the approval to go for a simplified rate case of 3% for water and then have a increase of 3% for wastewater. The Public Service Commission has changed the simplified rate case amount to 4.5%. So we're here to talk about if that's acceptable to do a simplified rate increase for water at 4.5% instead, because the 3% is not an option. And I'm recommending that we also do the same amount for the wastewater and do 4.5% there. This would increase a person's rate for water of about $1.60 per month, and for wastewater $1.22 per month. That would be in total from what it is now to the 4.5%. Estimated revenue impact for 2023 would be about $12,000 for water and about $12,000 for sewer. And it's also because we would be implementing a little bit later, because it would be effective April 1st. So everyone would see it on their bill in May.
Thank you. The chair will entertain a motion so we can discuss.
I'll move that we approve the change to the water and sewer rates,
Resolution number 3.
resolution number 3.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion?
I think a point that we had in our finance meeting was that $1.60 for water and $1.20 for sewer is an average of residents. So that it could be a little bit different here and there on bills, depending on how much use.
Correct.
So,
Any other comment? Clerk will call the roll on resolution number 3.
Hildebrand,
Yes.
Nelson,
yes.
Penkwitz,
Yes.
Odekirk,
Yes.
Gilson,
Yes.
Shilsky,
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Moving on to item B, discussion and possible action on loan to TID number 5 for annual street program from revolving loan fund. Again, I'll call on Kim Ross for introductory comments, please.
TID 5 is projected to have funds available for a project of about $775,000. And we had bids go out for East Clifford Street for this project. The bids came in with the lowest bids being $939,000, which was higher than we had originally anticipated. It's important that we continue with the project. It's in the best interest of the city and utility. And the utility can finance $165,000 of the utility capital costs for that project. TID 5 currently doesn't have enough cash on hand to be able to pay for all of that in 1 year, but it does have enough to pay for it over the next 6 years. The RLF fund does have funds available right now, significant funds, and does have the ability to loan the money to TID 5. We are saying that TID 5 is not able to pay interest on this loan, so it would be principal only return, 0% interest.
Thank you. Chair will entertain a motion so we can discuss.
I'll make a motion to approve loan to TID 5. Action on loan to TID 5.
Second, Nelson.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? This also was approved on the Finance and Personnel Committee earlier this evening. Clerk will call the roll, please.
Gilson,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Odekirk,
Yes.
Hildebrand,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Shilsky,
Yes.
Penquitz.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Moving on to item C, discussion and possible action regarding TID 6 repayment of city advance. Again, Kim, we'll put you in the hot seat. Give us a short summary on that, please.
In 2020, the council passed a resolution number 5 authorizing the repayment of an advance from TIF 6 from the general fund. We are not able to repay that advance because TIF 6 did not have enough cash to be able to do that, and in fact had a shortage in 20 and 21. Currently, TID 6 has an advance from the general fund of about $148,000. Plymouth Utilities back in 2011 advanced the TID 6 $745,000, and that was for eligible capital projects that we had at that time. TID 6 is a small district and isn't forecasted to be able to repay all of the original advance from the utility. But the current forecast shows that TID 6 would be able to pay the general fund back, the $148,000, and we do that in 4 payments over the next 4 years, and that they'd be able to pay a portion of the utilities the following 6 years after that, maybe 7, sorry. What I'd like is the intention that if TID 6 has a higher cash available, that they would pay as much as possible back to the utility for the advance, but currently approve this repayment schedule. We would come back at that point in time and ask for an amendment, an adjustment.
Okay, thank you. The chair will entertain a motion so we can discuss.
Mr. Mayor, I will move that we approve the TIF 6 repayment of city advance as presented.
Second, Nelson.
We have a first and a second to approve TIF number 6 as recommended, also recommended by Finance and Personnel earlier this evening for approval by the council. Any discussion? Clerk will call the roll, please.
Penquitz,
Yes.
Shilsky,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hildebrand,
Yes.
Gilson,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Odekirk.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Item D, discussion and possible action on annual street program bids. Tim Blakely, our city administrator. Give us
Sure.
a short summary, please.
I will handle this. Our public works director is enjoying skiing in Colorado tonight, so I will do a brief rundown. So the city went out for bids for the East Clifford and Pony Lane projects. We received 10 bids, which is great. The scope of the project is new water main and water lateral replacement, curb stop, sanitary sewer main replacement, storm sewer main and inlets, full curb and gutter, repair of hazardous sidewalk, handicap ramp replacements, and asphalt road paving. The city also has an agreement as proposed for construction management and staking from Kapoor and Associates for Pony Lane and East Clifford Street. $150,000 of this project will be coming from the city capital improvement budget, $44,000 from the capital reserve, $315,543.50 from the utility budget, and $774,000 approximately from TIF 5, which was just recommended by council. So the breakdown in funding is here below. So this sort of combines with the previous item a little bit, but it also includes the Pony Lane portion of the project. So staff does recommend moving forward with the 2023 street project with Superior Sewer and Water and the amount of $1,180,519.70 and professional service agreements with Kapoor and Associates in a total of $104,155.
Thank you. Chair will entertain a motion so we can discuss.
I'll move that we approve the annual street program bids as outlined.
Second, Shelsky.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? Clerk will call the roll, please.
Gilson,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Odekirk,
Yes.
Hildebrand,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Shilsky,
Yes.
Penquith.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Moving on to item E, consideration of exemption of taxes for 2022 for 815 Meadow Lane, parcel number 592718150060, Plymouth Alliance Church, and rescinding and refunding thereof. Anna, you want to handle that?
Sure. So the Plymouth Alliance Church, they needed to submit paperwork for their parsonage at 815 Meadow Lane, and the associated appraisal didn't receive it in time. So they are looking to be exempt. I contacted Laura Henning Lorenz at the county treasurer's office. Usually the process is to go through open book, but she has indicated that she's made exceptions in the past for churches, and suggested that we bring it to council for approval to refund before open book. And then in your packet, the Plymouth Alliance Church also referenced 1203 Fairview Drive. That is the church portion. They currently have 16 acres, and I reached out to Luke to see if they could also be exempt for the extra 6 acres. And they can currently only be exempt for 10 acres. So they have the maximum exempt acres on 1203 Fairview. So this is just for the parsonage at 815 Meadow Lane.
Thank you.
And this will be, once it's exempt, it will be continued as exempt. It won't have to come back to council.
So it's a permanent exemption?
Yes.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion so we can discuss.
I move to approve, I make a motion to approve the exemption of taxes for, the Plymouth Alliance Church.
At 815 Meadow Lane. Need a second? Go ahead.
I make a second.
Thank you. We have a first and a second to approve the exemption request for 815 Meadow Lane. Any discussion?
Mayor.
Alderman
Yeah.
Hanson first.
Oh, good. I'm in favor of this. If we draw it out for them, it's gonna be the same results, and it's something they deserve, so we should approve it.
Any other comment? Alderman
I would just
Hildebrand.
like to hear from our city attorney on some of the legalities of that, if I could.
Sure, and in terms of the legalities, did you have a specific question
You
about
know,
the
why it's
exemption?
being done, or why all of a sudden it comes up, you know, over the years, we've never seen from the church before.
Sure,
Yeah.
so in general, nonprofits, religious organizations enjoy a tax exempt status when it comes to real estate property taxes. Typically that is handled through the city assessor, and the city assessor would assign and evaluate based on the usage that tax exempt status. Reading through the letter here, it appears that the church bought a parcel in November of 2021 and was unaware of the exemption request that needed to be submitted for the parcel. So while it is likely that had the assessor received the paperwork, he would have granted that tax exempt status. We can tell here that the church has now submitted it. So they didn't submit it in time, and they are now saying, could we have that relief for the 2022 real estate tax bills as well? And then I would expect through the exemption that they filed that they would enjoy that tax exempt status for the future. So we're really talking about 1 year here, and then it's in the assessor's hands to make that determination.
So we're just cleaning something up that it just didn't happen in time.
It didn't happen in time.
Okay, that makes more sense than just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments?
I guess a question,
Alderman Nelson.
so this really is not optional? I mean, I don't know that every church has a parsonage. I mean, the pastor or leader may have a personal home, but it's not a parsonage. In that case, is their personal home exempted from real estate taxes?
So that is a determination that the city assessor would make. This is optional for the council for 2022. For years 2023 moving forward, that's where the assessor will then evaluate and make a decision on this exemption request that's been filed. I'm not aware if a decision has already been made by the assessor, but before the council tonight is really limited to the 2022 year, and the church is saying they missed the deadline to file it and they weren't aware.
Okay.
I think part of the answer, John, you're looking for is if it's a personal residence of the pastor, is that exempt? And the answer is no. It has to be declared the parsonage for the church.
And it's property of the church. It's not
Correct.
property of the,
Yeah,
Okay.
not the minister or the pastor or the,
okay. I just wanted to clarify
Yeah.
that to be fair to everybody.
Yeah.
So, okay, I understand.
any other questions? Clerk will call the roll on the motion.
Penquitz,
Yes.
Shilsky,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Hildebrand,
Yes.
Odekirk, Nelson,
Yes.
Gilson.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. For the audience, our next portion of the meeting is going to be in closed session, and we ask people to clear the room. And when we come back out, then we'll adjourn. Chair hereby entertain a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85 per N1 per NE, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specific public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons required a closed session, sale of a portion of parcel number 592718200950 for development discussion.
Motion to go into closed session.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion on closed session? Clerk will call the roll for closed session.
Odekirk,
Yes.
Penquitz,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Shilsky,
Yes.
Gilson,
Yes.
Hildebrand.
Yes.
Motion carried. We'll wait till we clear the room and then we'll go into closed session.